Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Echo. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game, or made this game, and are making other games, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $3 a month. So, and the last Let's Play, we came to City Hall, where we found Auntie here, and also Chase in the closet, where there was a whole bunch of spiders, but we rescued him-ish, gave him water, and then he was talking about how, something happened to Sydney. He didn't say he killed him or not. He said he was glad he died, but then, yeah, I was talking about how there was this weird... Sydney was acting really weird near the end, and yeah, Chase himself was also acting really weird. It lessened when he left Echo, but then got worse when he came back. But also, a whole bunch of people came to City Hall. Mike or whatever, too. But yeah, sounds like there's a bunch of noise outside, so reset face. And begin. We exit City Hall and are instantly greeted by a slew of faces. Hey, it's those two. It's Mike and Kudzu from Leo's route, and also, no? I guess that would be Jenna's route for the bad-eared guy. This is a load of fresh shit. You know that. Just checking to make sure we're past the minute mark. Oh, didn't we click here? Click. What do you mean when you say we can't leave? Everyone seems to be gathered around in front of the entrance. The headlights from half a dozen cars lining up as we exit. Most eyes are on Auntie. The air has this sort of smoky tinge to it, like someone's cooking something. I wonder if it's from the fire I saw earlier. Now, are we Flynn still? Also, what fire are we talking about? Oh yeah, I guess it was from a distance, and we don't know. Y'all came here because you want answers. Now, are you gonna listen to them or not? I recognize most of the people in the crowd. Janice, Duke, Kudzu, Micah, Heather, Mark, and shit, about a dozen more. That's practically half the town! I mean, I ain't kidding though. Some of them look downright terrified. Others, like Micah, the klepto shithead from Tetanus Alley, just looks pissed. Agitated by whatever the hell Auntie's saying. Okay, so we're still Flynn. I can see Duke, the old widower who lives next to Leo, somewhere back by his car. He's not looking at my aunt anymore. He's fixated on Chase, with this sort of 1,000-yard stare. From the back of the crowd, I see the lumbering figure of Leo. So yeah, Duke was going like, hey, I've been seeing you, Otter, for a while because, Shadow Chase. At the sight of us, he pushes his way through. Chase. Leo stops, rubbing the back of his neck, and looking off to the side as he notes the Otter's state of undress. You're back, and you're naked. Chase has this weird sort of look on his face, like he's never seen Leo before in his life. Like, this is some incredibly awkward encounter with a stranger. Yeah. Black Widow bit me. And that made you naked? Leo turns, looking at me suspiciously. Fuck you. I didn't do it. God, I have no time for this shit anymore. Leo's brow furrows. I keep expecting him to jolt out his arm and slug me, but he just looks tired and confused. I sat in a nest of a whole bunch of them, and they got everywhere. That's awful. Are you alright? Leo brings his large paw up to Chase's shoulder. Chase flinches, and the wolf quickly releases his grasp, giving the otter a quizzical look. I'm okay. Well, not really, but you know. He rubs the bite of his neck, biting his cheek as he stares at the gravel between his feet. I don't know, Chase. We need to get you to a doctor. But I have to ask, why'd you run off earlier? I didn't mean to. I just did. Chase, that doesn't make any sense, yeah? Ante begins to speak up again. Let's talk plain like, most of you seen things, bad things. And some folk around here have started acting real strange, more than the usual suspects on their ballots of the happy juice. And nobody's getting any tower or satellite signals for our phones and internet. Landline's fuzzy too. A couple of people nod. Mike is looking over his shoulder, seemingly unfocused on what Auntie's saying. Mark tried to head off to Peyton to see if the county offices knew what's going on. He got about as far as Flint turnoff before he found himself on the old Route 65, leaned back in town. He tells me he tried 3 times to get through. No luck. Now, I would have slapped him on the head with a roll of newspaper and told him to take his clowning to the circus, if I hadn't heard the same sort of thing from my grandpa decades ago. Folk traveling in buggies, trying to escape from the madness of this town, but they got snared in one hell of a web. If you've been thinking your dreams have been real queer as of late, you ain't alone. It's been getting worse. Honestly, I was packing my bags to get out before it hit. I wasn't ready to leave. I remember telling Auntie I wanted to stay for Carl's interview, but I wanted to also see if I could get to the bottom of the shit with TJ too. So you're saying there's no way out? That we're in what? An inescapable bubble? Sweetheart, it's like the tide. It goes in, it gets pulled out. And sometimes it pulls stuff with it. My grandpa, God rest his soul, told me it was attracted to the uncouthness of man, the hours and desires, which we cannot unshackle ourselves. Simple sin. A mournful look crosses her face as she takes a deep breath. Mark. She looks over to the horned toad, our town's treasurer. He's standing by his black 4-door SUV. I always made fun of him for buying it. Black cars in the desert aren't good mix unless you're keen on baking. He reaches into the car and pulls out a lumpy something wrapped in a flamboyantly colored beach towel. I recognize the faded logo in the corner as the one from Southwestern Ventures, an old souvenir, maybe. Mark herks as he steps in front of the mayor with it, sitting on the ground. The first thing I see are the feet sticking out the end. Someone in back, Heather I think, screams. It's a banshee-like wail as Mark pulls back the fabric. No! I'm not gonna. No! They're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my God! Keith! It's not Keith. At first, it's difficult to tell exactly what I'm looking at, but after a few moments, I can see clearly who it is. Oh, that's a picture right there. Thumbnail time? Well, it looks like his eyes were been plucked out and his face slashed and all that. That's Salem. Jesus. No. DJ begins to sob, his terrified sniffles mixing with Heather's confused, shrill cries. The boar is covered in lacerations, most of which are on his face. 2 swipes of whatever cut him seem to have torn his eyes and part of his snout out. I always thought when someone had their eyes taken out, it'd just be black holes inside, but it's pink. It's like I'm looking into the guy's brain. Also, that wouldn't have been enough fabric to, cover up the body, but anyways. I feel like I'm gonna hurl. What happened to him? He tried to leave. Yeah, but how'd that happen? The raccoon, who up to this point I've never seen as anything but strong, silent type, that's shaken up bad. It's kind of like when we tried to leave in Leo's route, and same thing for when Duke tried to leave. He clutches his forehead with the paw, shaking his head. God, for a second, he looked like somebody else. I barely know Salem. He's a recent move-in who originally squatted on the vacant land in the RV until the landowner started making him pay to live there. He kept to himself, never even said 2 words to the guy. That's an accomplishment when you're stuck in town with just about 50 people still living here. Mark tells me that the 3rd time he tried to leave, he saw him just lying there on the side of the road next to his RV, dead as a doorknob. So, to answer your question, Coon Boy, I don't know. I feel like that's very racist, but maybe the person typing this out wasn't like, is this racist or something? But yeah, that does sound very racist. If they do use the hard R word, then I won't say it. In general visual novel. But, what would that be in furry terms? These things always end, but there's no clear definition of when or how. I advise as I do in all these times to turn to the higher powers, pray, and repent as you may. There's a shocked silence from the present. From the present? Dexon keeps shaking his head. Jenna tries her phone again. Micah stares off into the dark, in the direction of the highway. I know how to make the vision stop. The weasel speaks up to Auntie, though he's not looking at her. Yeah? What's your proposal, Duke? He points a pink finger towards Chase. Yeah, we stop him. Chase sort of half blinks, his bloodshot eyes aimed all in focus like at the scruffy weasel. What? I can't discern who that voice is from. This all happened before, or has happened before. He looks towards Auntie, who nods inquisitively, and it's only going to get worse. It happened to my granddaddy and my daddy, and now it's happening to me. Well, me and the rest of y'all's. Dale's missing. Cynthia drove off into the desert. Clint and Jeremy are running around, shooting and screaming at nothing. Who's Cynthia? I don't know. Thing is, we've all got something after us. Something bad. Won't let you leave when it starts. What's after you? The raspy voice bat chimes up, still looking off into the desert, away from the crowd. Duke's quiet for a moment, rolling a handmade cigarette between his thumb and index finger. It's always triggered by something. Duke begins to pace, still pointing at Chase. I've seen you here last week, before the rest of your friends showed up. Late at night, outside his house. He nods in Leo's direction, the wolf clasping Chase's shoulder protectively, just standing there, for hours and hours. I didn't even need to be asleep to see you. That last line rings strange. Duke saying it as if it makes perfect sense. Chase's gaze shifts to his feet. His legs begin to tremble. Hey, I'm not saying you did it, or that you're wanting all this to happen. He steps over Salem's body, approaching the otter. It's just that you gotta know something. Anything that we can use to stop this. 'Cause anytime I ask big old Leo here, he's just got a glazed look in his eyes, telling me where I can stick my inquiries. That doesn't make sense. Well, someone told me that you would know. Someone? At this point, I see the black, metallic shape sticking out of the back of the weasel's trousers. He's got a gun. Daxon flinches, seeing it too. Shit. He mutters, and I feel Carl step closer against me. Who? Someone I know. He yells, leaning close to Chase. Leo steps completely in front of him, ears down and fangs bared. It makes sense. Something bad happens, and if you don't fix it, it won't stop coming after you. Maybe for you. Carl's snarl turns into a tight, tepid frown. He looks unnerved, uneasy with Duke, and what he's saying. This is all really timely for your friends to show up. So, what happened, Chase? I don't know what you're talking about. Monty exchanges a glance with Mark. Then, they both look to Chase, seemingly unconcerned what Duke is packing. Things are getting worse out here, and unless we do something, we're all gonna end up like young Salem. Duke's voice is dead and distant. He's right. The auntie's voice cuts through the air like a knife. Next thing I know, her and Mark are stepping up beside Duke. Flynn, come here. I hear my heart lurches and see my name called, or hear my name called, not seeing. That'd be a thing. And I strain myself to keep a straight face. I try to not look at the body as I walk up, feel my backside illuminated by dozens of headlights, and the gaze of the crowd. You locked Chase in the rain room with all them spiders. Why? You what? I didn't know about spiders at the time, I mumble. Flynn. She looks away for a moment. Condemn Chase, or condemn Chase. Random number generator destiny, pick, condemn Chase. Pretty sure he killed Sydney. I clutch my head, the blood in my veins feeling cold. It's as if the gravel beneath my feet is turned to quicksand. My mouth moves as if to say more, but I'm managed by my tongue. Though, here's the thing, why is it that Flynn can, has 3 choices and they're all the same? Did Flynn do something? It just makes the pain worse. What is happening? I can see Jenna covering her face with both paws, seemingly in disbelief this is really happening. There's a few murmurs from the gathering. Mike looks back at us, seemingly distracted from whatever was in the desert that he was staring at. You're talking about your little friend who drowned in the lake a decade ago? Yeah. Wow, kid. He clicks his tongue, shaking his head at the bedraggled-looking otter. That's fucked up. Chase starts to look like TJ again, as if on the urge of breaking down into sobs. He seems to be alternating from angry, sad, and confused, over and over again. This ain't how you guys are handling this, yeah? Dude, Flynn, Mayor Lady, you really need to fuck off. We'll handle this. I don't reckon I believe that. Sid died like 10 years ago. This doesn't make any fucking sense. Well, this sort of murder happened before. My grandpappy lived this whole thing and stayed in the town after. Why would you? Yeah, that's right. It happened weeks after the body was found. Auntie rubs her thumb through the floral scarf, staring into the headlights of one of the old Jeeps. Now, are we talking about the one in the smoke room or the one that happened between now and the smoke room? Or I guess there's multiple ones? The one in the mines. The air got all electric and fuzzy. Folk went out of their heads. So I guess that was the one from the smoke room? She never talked about any of this before. How do you know that? Beck gabbed about it a lot when we were youngin', and even before you were born. Dad. The whole superstition was part of the justification for making like a library and booking it. Well, that, and one other reason. I try to ignore the last comment, still focusing on the increasingly tense stare down between Leo, Chase, and Duke. I heard Mom and Dad hated Echo, mainly the usual grumblings about godlessness. Any ailments they had were surely the fucking results of some latent sin. Point is, the ground beneath our feet is tainted soil, rotten, shaky loam. Oh yeah, uses fancy words like loam. Duke interrupts, but Auntie doesn't seem to mind. She's just frowning now, looking at the crowd of people. Her scarf's come undone, due to the fidgeting, and all the old scars she has beneath are visible. Tattered scales replaced with pink flesh. It's more rotten in some places. You know the ones. My grandpappy thought that because they didn't catch the murderer, it planted some seeds in the bad dirt. But that ain't true. Duke rose up at a scab on his forehead, squeezing his cigarette so hard that the ash starts pouring out the other side like toothpaste. They got him, alright. Then everything was okay for a while after they found him, and he was killed. What the fuck does that have to do with Sydney? Duke continues, ignoring me. So, I don't know what it is. If it's murder, or guilt, or not. Catching someone that did wrong. I shake my head. I can't believe this shit. Sid's not fucking haunting the town, you meth-addled cunt. But it started when he got here, so you gotta forgive me for wondering if one of you did something bad. He was fucking 9 years old, and brought that guilt back to this poison land to grow the seeds again. Duke doesn't sound like himself at all, not even his recently crazed self. Still though, I don't want to admit it. I start to have the idea of what Duke might be getting at, how this all fits into our history, and judging from the look on the gathered crowd's faces, the feeling appears mutual. There's murmured inquiries about what to do. Others still quietly sobbing, asking a group of people who ignore why no one's helping Keith. Who's Keith? Genevieve Sanders, the retired mail carrier from Peyton, mentions something about a lynching. Jenna's arms are crossed tight. Her expression is sort of furrowed. Indignant stare that slowly falters to upset confusion. TJ's next to her, one paw on her arm. I can barely hear him, but he keeps saying he's sorry, over and over. Leo begins to tug at Chase, pulling him back in the direction of the van. The two begin to hurriedly walk before Auntie speaks up. Stop. I always had a nagging desire, this idea of getting justice for what happened. Sydney deserved as much, but now I can't say I'm feeling any catharsis or joy. Just this hollow rumbling from my insides that this ain't right. This can't be how we fix this shit. Carl has his head down now, the ram acting small despite its burly proportions. I just want to move beside him, tuck him under my arm, and fuck off away from here. Far away from here. Get back over here. Leo shakes his head. We're not sticking around for your shitty speeches. We're leaving. Chase needs a doctor. Come on, guys. He makes a beckoning motion to us. Jenna quickly shoves her phone into her purse, the Fennec visibly trying not to look at the body, as she, TJ, and Carl, and Dax head to the van. Just as I start to join them, I hear a clicking noise to my side. That actually got me. The horrible noise is deafening. I clutch the sides of my head and crouch down. A brass shell casing falls and hits my leg. It's hot. Duke's pointing a pistol in the air. Our group stops in their tracks, TJ falling to the ground and covering his face. Heather shrieking, screaming over and over again. And then suddenly she stops. There's some flailing of movement from the group that was standing near her, like the dancing you see at raves. When I look again, I can't see her anymore. Mike is gone too. Him and a few others scattered. Yeah, if I was in this situation, I'd be like, I'm gonna move away from all these guys and their craziness. And since I don't have a gun, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna be the hero. Kind of like you might hear on, I don't know, some news things where it's like, well, if I was in this situation shooting. I know exactly where the guy is and shoot him. I'm speaking of someone in particular, but you know. I can faintly see the bat silhouette in the distance, sprinting into the desert. What the fuck, Duke? I scream at the weasel. Need to get their attention. For the mayor, yeah? That's not fucking excuse. That shot could come back down and kill somebody. Duke clutches the pistol limply in his grasp, seemingly uncaring of where he's pointing the loaded weapon, and twirls his wrist about. It's a bit late for that now. Folk have been hurt already. And they'll continue to get hurt till we stop this. I hear shouts of agreement from the remaining crowd. Auntie just nods, and I can't help but give her a dumbfounded look. I clutch my repeater close. Spiders. Spiders got him. That right, Flynn? She points to Chase. Yeah, he sat in a nest of them. Duke. She holds up a finger, fast walking back into the office without another word. Duke watches our group by the van. Everyone's quiet. His pistol is aimed at the sky. After a minute, she returns with a piece of faded paper clutched in her hands. There's some old-timey writing on both sides of it. She holds it up to Mark and Duke. Mark uses his cell phone as light as they begin to read, Duke lowering his gun. I can see Jenna moving by the edge of the van. Of the fan? Probably van. Yeah, those letters are close enough. She's motioning to me, then Duke. What does she want me to do? Disarm him? One quick chop of the wrist. That would do it, I guess. I have to draw my repeater, though. I don't really want to risk that. At least, not yet. Surprisingly, Chase speaks up. What's it say? Boy, I think you know what it says. You were reading through our stuff and plucking all these records Thursday. James Hendricks noticed death. Carl visibly stiffens. Guess what killed him? Spiders. I step up, squinting at the paper. It's a notice of death, all right, for reference to an estate transfer. It's for a James Hendricks who passed away in 1913. The cause of death was listed as poison/infection. Theo something tarantula. Tarantula. Chase shifts uncomfortably. Chase's ass got planted on some black widows. And what does Carl's old great whatever have to do with this? James Hendricks, the first, was a notorious sodomite, like Chase. Like everyone here, practically, come on. But, you know, James Hendricks did more than just fuck guys, or children. Had to do with children, kind of like somebody who owns a corporation. I sigh. What? You say, he was looking at this the other day. He was working on a school project. Hell, that's why he's here. So he claimed. You sure about that? Auntie seems to pry at my own nagging doubt. I look back at the pathetic-looking otter. He looks to me. Then, Dax steps up. Hey, He stops just short of the body on the ground. Daxon straightens his posture, folding his hands behind his back. Mr. Duke, I think you're making a lot of really interesting headway into how we can solve all this. You know, much better than just hiding out in our homes, like from rampant chaos and the like. But, Salem here. He's uneasily gestures towards the corpse on the towel, the board's hollow eye sockets still staring at the stars above. Whatever got him, I think stopping/avoiding that would be priority number one. 'Cause, I mean, I've only known Chase for about half a week, but he doesn't seem like to be the sort of capable of all this. Kid, I've known Chase all my life, and I'd reckon something similar. But at the end of the day, Chase didn't do this. It's what Chase did that did this. The town needs justice. Hell, that little Sydney kid needs justice. I'm gonna save y'all. And make it so she leaves me alone, once and for all. Who? Who leaves you alone? Duke doesn't respond. Instead, raising his pistol, I think it's his ex-wife, or, his wife that went missing. And she was killed by Brian, I guess. Because Brian, the big bear guy, gave a whole bunch of people drugs, hooked a whole bunch of people on drugs, and then would do terrible things and at some point murder them because... Whew, but somehow is still alive in the sequel. I can't tell who he's aiming at. His paw's shaky. I need to do something. Jesus fuck. I... do nothing. Do nothing. Or do nothing. Well... the problem with this thing is I don't know how long this scene is. And that's the problem with all this stuff. I do kind of want to finish it because, my thing is that unless we're on a Sileo Toes and New Dawn where we just keep on going and going and going, then we should just, finish a whole bunch of these things. Let's just kind of see what would Echo's Flynn's route, because I just kind of want to see how many stuff there is. Granted, when you do it's this person's route, it tends to be here's all these. There's one paragraph of the first 7 days, and then 6 paragraphs of the remaining days. Childhood friend. Okay, so we got about 2 more paragraphs and maybe a sentence or 2. I'm just reading up to when it seems like we're at the current point right now, because I do not want to spoil it for me, So that's gonna be the end of this Let's Play. So please comment, because I like comments. Tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos tab of grow. And please remember to spay and then neuter your animals to help control the pet population. And if you want to play this game, it's available for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the news who made this game and are making other games, then you can go to Patreon, where it's $3 a month for early access to those other games. And until next time, another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Echo. So thanks and see ya.